Welcome back to episode 18 of the Fourth Quarter Podcast. I'm Ned Storr. With me today, as always, we got Grant Robinson and Dermot O'Kelly. How you boys doing?
Good.
Yes, sir. It's good to hear that. And also in the studio, we have surprise special guest, none other than Sean Lynch. Sean, how you feeling today?
Doing good. Thank you for having me.
Sean is our resident March Madness Bracket Challenge champion for the first annual Fourth Quarter Podcast Bracket Challenge. So, we had to get him on the pod for an episode. It's also a big-time NBA and Golden State Warriors fan, so definitely excited to hear some of his insights. Today is a very special day in the NBA because it is the first day of the NBA playoffs. No more of this play-in bullshit. Regular season's over. The series are all kicking off today, and I could not be more excited. We're going to go through each of the first-round series and each give our picks, predictions, and kind of just break down each of the first-round series in the playoffs for you all today. So to jump right into it, I want to start off in the Western Conference. Oklahoma City is taking on the New Orleans Pelicans in the 1 versus 8 matchup. Sean, how do you see that one playing out?
That's a pretty easy pick for me, I would say. I think the Thunder are going to win that since they have no Zion. I think if Zion was playing, it'd be a little bit more competitive, but I think the Thunder take that series in probably like 6 games, I would say.
Thunder in 6. Grant, how about you? OKC fan.
I like that. I like the Pelicans matchup better than the Kings. I think we match up a little bit worse against the Kings, so I'm grateful for the Pelicans. I think we get them in 5. Go 4-1 against them.
Dermot, how about you?
I think the lack of playoff experience for the Thunder is going to show. I still have them advancing, but I think it's going to be a lot sketchier than it should be. Pelicans, based on how well they played this season, they're really not an 8 seed. But obviously Zion unhealthy. I think they'll make it tough, but I've got the Thunder in 7.
Wow, 7-game series.
Yeah, I like what you brought up about the Pelicans being better than your usual 8 seed. I mean, for most of the year, and especially down the stretch, they were all the way up in the 5 in the West. Kind of got screwed over by the play-in tournament. But they were playing some incredibly good basketball from January until March. The Zion injury sucks. It looks like he'll be out for at least a few weeks. So probably won't be much of a factor in that series, if at all. I agree. I do think the Thunder's inexperience will show in the playoffs. Like, they are the second youngest team in the NBA based on the guys that they were given minutes to. A lot of great players out there. Shea's been in the playoffs a couple of times with LA and then with Chris Paul and OKC as well. So he's been there before, but I'll be interested to see how Chet and Jalen Williams hold up, as well as some of their other role players, Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, Josh Giddey. See how they all hold up in the playoff intensity. But, I mean, OKC's got one of the best crowds in the NBA. It's like a college atmosphere out there. They got the white and blue alternating shirts already on the seats, so should be a pretty incredible atmosphere. I think I'm going to go OKC in 6 games.
Good pick.
Good take.
The Thunder tickets, game 1 sold out in 10 minutes.
I believe it.
Yeah, they're trying to enjoy the first time being good in a while. So,
what else are you doing in Oklahoma City?
He's not wrong.
He's trying to fucking hate, bro.
But he's not wrong. That's the exact thing that happened with the Lions when they were in the playoffs.
Okay, what? We're good now, bro. Like, you can't say
but
shit.
it's been a while.
You can't say shit.
He's right.
It's been like 10 years.
That's a while.
It's not that long.
It's not as long as some other teams.
Let's move on.
All right, let's do it. So in the 2-7 in the West, one of the most anticipated series, I think, in the first round, we got the defending champ Denver Nuggets going up against the team that they faced in the Western Conference Finals, the LeBron James-led Lakers. Obviously, this series was a sweep in the Western Conference Finals last year. Sean, do you think the Lakers are any better this year? Can they put up more of a fight against Jokic and the Nuggets?
I'm not sure. It's a hard question. I mean, throughout the year, I feel like they didn't play well against them the whole year, and they lost all those games. So it's hard to say that they'll play any better. I think in a playoff setting, I mean, they might play a little differently. AD's been healthy and stuff, so if it comes down to the role players as well, and like D'Angelo Russell, I think they'll put up more of a fight, but I still don't really see them winning the series. I wouldn't really be surprised if the Lakers did win, but it'd definitely be like a 7-game series if they were to.
I agree. Like
But
7, I think it's a 7-game series.
either way.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think if Lakers were to win, it'd be in 7. If the Nuggets were to win, like I wouldn't be surprised if they won in like 5 or 6 though. I don't think another sweep is gonna happen though.
True.
Grant, why
So
do you
what's
have
your
so
prediction?
much? Why do you have so much faith in the Lakers taking it all the way to 7 games?
Just revenge, period. I think going back and getting a chance to play that team that swept you last year in the finals is gonna be bad news for the Nuggets. Lakers are gonna be coming in there heated, like they're gonna be ready to play and ready to win. And I don't think Lakers are going to win in 6 games or 5 games. I think it is going to take 7 games because of how good the Nuggets is. But like Sean said, I could see it going either way in Game 7, either Nuggets or Lakers, but I got Lakers.
So Lakers in 7 from Grant. Definitely a bold prediction here in series number 2. Dermot, how about you?
Yeah. I'm riding with the Nuggets. I have no reason to believe that, not much has really changed since last year in my eyes. I don't think they'll sweep them necessarily, but I think 5 or 6 games they'll take them out relatively easily. Obviously, Braun in the playoffs, never going to be easy. But I'll go Nuggets in 5.
The thing about this series that is different from last year is that it's happening in the first round. So LeBron at age 39 doesn't have to go through 2 grueling playoff rounds to meet up with the, MVP and some would say the best team in basketball. He's more fresh than he was last year. I think their acquisition of Gabe Vincent will also help, especially like slowing down Jamal Murray. D'Angelo Russell can't possibly be as bad as he was in the conference finals series last year. Like he's been absolutely balling this year, lighting it up from 3.
He has.
His defense has been improved as well. So there are reasons to get behind the Lakers, and I think they're a lot better than they were last year. I still think Nuggets in 5.
Wow. So wait, Sean, what was yours?
I'm gonna stick with Nuggets in 6. But I can see it going a lot of
y'all
ways.
don't think it's going to Game 7? Bro, I think 2 series in the West are going to Game 7.
If it went to Game 7, then I would pick the
one,
Lakers.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
Interesting.
but I don't I can see it go either way, like I said. So, but I'm just gonna stick with the more practical pick and stay with the Nuggets in 6. It'll definitely be more of a challenge than before.
And then I'm the only one who has the Lakers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody else picked Nuggets?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, according to
Interesting.
FanDuel Sportsbook, the Nuggets are definitely favored, but it's one of the closer playoff series in all the playoffs. Definitely a lot of people have faith in the Lakers getting it done this year, but yeah, I think Nuggets are definitely the safer pick. Moving on to the next series in the West, we got the 3 seed Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the loaded Phoenix Suns. And Dermot, I'll let you kick us off on this one.
I'm liking the aforementioned loaded Phoenix Suns. I think they're a slight underdog in this series. Obviously, Minnesota has looked great throughout the regular season. Anthony Edwards took a step up that we were looking to see out of him, and Rudy Gobert is likely the defensive player of the year. But I think the Suns just have the players with the playoff experience. They swept them in the regular season, going 3-0. So I'm rocking with the Suns with the slight upset. I'll take them in 7 games, though. I think that's gonna be my best series of the first round.
I like it. Yep. And even though the Suns are the 6th seed, they are actually favored on most of the sports books. So that might be one of the trendier upset picks. Grant, how are you feeling about that series?
I know Cat was injured, but for how long was he injured? And he's coming back and he's healthy for the first game.
So he missed about a month and he returned with 2 or 3 games left in the regular season. So he's back now.
Okay. See, like I don't like that. I don't think he can come back from that injury like Embiid. Then again, Embiid's injury was way worse than Cat's, and Embiid was out longer. But like the chem is no longer there. It's not like the 76ers where you got to play a lot of time without Embiid and got chemistry with other players. It's like an awkward phase where you lose one of your best players like a month before and you're not really locked into the playoffs. So I'm with Dermot here. I got Suns in 5.
Ooh, Suns in 5. All right, a gentleman's sweep. Sean, how about you?
I'm gonna go with the common upset pick on this. I think the Suns are gonna win this. I just think based on them winning, going 3-0 throughout the regular season, I think they're gonna continue to do that. I think Kevin Durant, Devin Booker is just like too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think the scoring. I mean, like Phoenix they're a tough team to play for anybody. I feel like, especially if those guys get going. So I'm just gonna roll with that. I don't think Minnesota's one of those teams where I think they're obviously good regular season, but when they play a little bit more, I guess a little bit more of an experienced team, the matchup just isn't really as good for them. So I'm gonna pick the Suns in 6.
Yeah, I'm also going with the Suns. We get a clean sweep here. My question is, who the hell is going to guard KD, right? Because if you're throwing Durant out there at the 4, that's a matchup nightmare for a team like the T-Wolves.
Like who? Kyle Anderson?
Because your starting 5 is Conley, Edwards, McDaniels, Cat, and Gobert, right? You're not going to put Cat on KD. That's never going to work. So you're probably putting McDaniels or Edwards. Then the other one of those two goes on Booker. Conley goes on Beal. You're going to have Karl Anthony Towns guarding Grayson Allen. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. The T-Wolves are going to have to tweak their rotation and their scheme a ton in this series. Like, I can't think of a worst possible matchup for them in the first round. And it's really a shame because they had such a strong regular season, surprised a lot of people, including myself. But, yeah, I just think having KD out there, having the experience of the Suns who've been to an NBA Finals a couple of years ago, it's going to be too much for Minnesota. So I think it will go the distance. I'll take Suns in 7 just because the Timberwolves will compete. Anthony Edwards is a dog. He's hungry for that first playoff series win. But, yeah, I think this is probably the Suns' series to lose.
Yeah, I agree. Like that.
All right, moving right along to the final series in the Western Conference, and this is one that I personally cannot wait for. We have the LA Clippers taking on the red-hot Dallas Mavericks. A lot of questions going into this one about Kawhi Leonard. What's the status of his knee injury? To preface your guys' takes, Woj did just tweet out a couple hours ago saying there is a lot of doubt about Kawhi's status for Game 1 with his knee injury.
Dude, I heard about that.
Obviously, that plays into kind of the team that we pick a lot. Also just sucks that Kawhi just can't seem to stay healthy in all these playoff runs. But, Sean, how are you feeling about Clippers-Mavs?
Yeah, this is definitely the hardest one in the first round for me. I mean, it really just comes down to the Clippers' health. Like, it's unfortunate they look so dominant when after James Harden got comfortable and everybody was healthy during that stretch of the regular season. But, I mean, it sucks that Kawhi is hurt. I honestly didn't even know it was his knee also. I thought it was his back still. But, yeah, I mean, if he's not healthy, it's going to be a challenge. I mean, I think this will be a 7-game series no matter what.
Me too.
It just depends who the playmakers are. It really comes down to. So, if Kawhi is able to play, or hopefully Paul George can actually step up and do something, I really hope so. I would lean the Clippers in 7. But this could go either way. I mean, it just has a big impact as well. Like Luka needs to show that he's like the MVP caliber player he is, and not go out in the first round and stuff. This is probably his best team he's had in a while, I would say.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So I think it could go definitely either way. I will lean Clippers 7 just based on their overall all-star power. But yeah, it could go either way.
Sean goes Clippers despite the doubts over Kawhi's knee. Grant, how are you feeling about that series?
I I completely agree with Sean. I think it's going to 7 automatically. I think didn't they did they not play each other last year?
The Mavs missed the playoffs last year. The year before they played.
The year before they played them?
Yeah.
I think it's another revenge thing like the Lakers. I think I got Mavs in 7.
Mavs in 7. I like it. It's definitely Luka's best supporting cast he's had. So, I think if he goes out in the first round, the excuses are really going to be stacking up for him. Like, there's a lot of pressure. That's another thing that I want to talk about today is, like, who are the players that have the most pressure on them going into these playoffs. But, yeah, there's no doubt that.
Definitely Luka's definitely up there.
Yeah, he's got to deliver this time around. Dermot, what's your prediction for the series?
I'm with Grant. I'm riding Dallas in 7. I think Sean was spot on with saying that, this is going to 7 games and it's coming down to the playmakers at the end of the day. And I just have a gut feeling that we're going to see some Luka magic this series. 50-point triple-double or a big buzzer beater or something along those lines. That's just what I'm feeling. I think it's going to happen, and I think that's going to be the edge that takes them over the Clippers into the second round.
I like it. Well, I'm going to go away from the 7-game series. Mavs are taking this in 5 games, and here's why.
Dang.
Kawhi's going to at least miss game 1, and if he does come back later in the series, which in my opinion is not a lock, he's going to be limited. All right? Even if he's out there, who's guarding Luka and Kyrie? Like, we know Tyronn Lue doesn't like to put PG and Kawhi on the other team's best ball handlers for whatever reason. So you're going to be looking at, like, Norman Powell and PJ Tucker getting reps against Luka and Kyrie, and, like, they will feast on those matchups. I know PJ Tucker's still a good defender at the age of 47, but, like, Luka's still going to get his. The last 15 games of the season, the Mavs have very quietly had the best defense in the entire NBA. Like, they've been balling. They get lauded for their offense and how good Luka and Kyrie play with their 2 new athletic bigs and all the shooting around them. The defense has been insanely good as of late. They're just straight up rolling going into the playoffs, and the Clippers have had kind of a topsy-turvy season. We know all about the defensive woes and the playoff woes of James Harden. I just feel like it's the Mavs' year. I feel like they're going to keep the momentum going. They're going to take down the Clippers in 5 games, whether or not Kawhi's there.
That's a bold-ass take.
I'll put my reputation on the line for that one. I'm very confident.
I think, yeah, that's. I mean, I believe you. I'm with the Mavs. I want the Mavs to win, but I think it goes a little bit more than 5 games, even with Kawhi's injury and his doubts throughout the rest of the series.
We will see. Definitely one to keep an eye on. We'll come back to the Western Conference to give our official Western Conference champ predictions. But before we do that, I do want to transition over to the East, where we have a bunch of really contentious series. Starting out with maybe not the most contentious, we have the Boston Celtics against the Miami Heat, who have lost Jimmy Butler for at least the next 2 or 3 weeks after that knee injury that he suffered in the play-in game against Philly. Super unfortunate that we're already talking about injuries when it comes to these playoffs, but I mean, the Heat did knock the Celtics out in the Eastern Conference Finals last season, almost swept them, and then it went 7 games. But definitely an interesting round 1 matchup. Grant, what are your thoughts on the Celtics-Heat series?
I think this is a sweep. With Jimmy Butler out, they have no chance. Celtics should sweep them and will sweep them 4-0.
Wow. It's a strong take.
I mean, without Jimmy, I feel like it's not as hot as it could be. But I just don't see. I mean, maybe 5, maybe Heat get a game, but Celtics. I mean, if you're not picking Celtics, then I don't know what you're doing.
So if Jimmy was out there, what would you say about this series?
If Jimmy was out there, I would say I want to say 6. Celtics in 6.
Okay. So you're just high on the Celtics this year.
Yeah, I am. But it's also, I mean, I think Jimmy is a big part of that Heat team. I think I think that Heat team is good with Tyler Hero and Bam, but I don't think they can get it done against a number one seed like the Celtics when they don't have Jimmy.
Yep, it's going to be very tough for them indeed. Sean, I'm excited to hear your pick on this series. You know, as a former Miami Heat fan, I'm sure you have some interesting takes. So, how you feeling about this one?
I mean, without Jimmy Butler, I don't think this is really gonna be a series. I was really hoping that he was healthy.
Me too.
Yeah, I was really hoping he was healthy so they would win. Because I just don't like the Celtics personally, but yeah, I see at most they could steal a game, but I think it's Celtics in 5. I mean, like, I'd be really surprised if they got more than 2 games, and I mean, if they got 2 games, and if it did, then I would lose a lot of like my faith in the Celtics, honestly.
That's facts.
So I expect them to like blow them out pretty much all the time and just move on, and they'll face a tougher opponent later on. So I would say Celtics in 5.
Dermot, how about you?
Yeah, I'm with these two. I've got Celtics in 5 also. Obviously, it's been mentioned already, but Jimmy Butler being out, huge difference maker. I probably would have had this series going to 7 if Butler was playing and maybe even taking the Heat. But in the playoffs, especially without him, it's a huge loss. If there are close games, who's it going to come down to? I'm not really confident in any of those guys on the Heat to win the games that need to be won. Mm-hmm. So I'm riding with the Celtics. I think, they've looked incredible this year, and I think they're going to start off the playoffs hot.
I totally agree. The Celtics are a better team than last year. Obviously, I still have concerns about their late game offense, and they do seem to find a way to burn out in the playoffs more often than not, which, they'll have to kind of prove wrong this year. But, yep, I'm going Celtics in 5. The Heat just aren't as talented as them without Jimmy Butler. And Spo's a great coach, and the Heat just do such a good job of, like, putting you out of your rhythm that they'll get a game on them. But to echo what Sean said, yeah, it's going to be a lot of blowouts in this series, especially the games in Boston. So I wouldn't be shocked to see the Celtics sweep this. I'll say Celtics in 5 to advance to the second round.
I like it. I'm glad we all picked Celtics. Let's just say that.
All right, moving on to the Knicks versus the Sixers. It's the 2-7 matchup in the East. The Sixers coming through the play-in tournament to steal that 7 seed after missing Joel Embiid for about 2 months in the regular season. This is an incredibly interesting 2 versus 7. Grant, what are your initial thoughts on the Knicks versus the Sixers?
All right, so I think this is going to be the best series out of the first round. I think it will go to Game 7, and the Knicks will win, and New York will fucking erupt. I think it's going to be just a fucking battle. Jalen Brunson versus Joel Embiid, just 2 absolute dogs that really shine this season. I mean, Embiid almost winning the MVP, and then Brunson almost winning the MVP. I mean, I think this is just going to be a great series. I'm here for the entertainment. I'm also rooting for the Knicks. I like the Knicks. I have a little bit of a bias.
Same.
I like them. I don't really like the 76ers, but yeah, if it could go to Game 7, I'm happy. But I do have the Knicks winning in 7.
Knicks in 7. Yeah, Madison Square Garden is going to be an absolute shit show if the Knicks take a Game 7 against Philly as well, who they're not as bitter rivals as like maybe the Knicks are with the Celtics, but like that Mid-Atlantic rivalry is going to go crazy. A lot of Knicks fans in Philly and Philly fans in New York, so it should be pretty damn interesting. Dermot, what are your initial thoughts on the series?
I think this is the best series in the East for sure. And to me, it's really a toss-up. I think it's a 50-50. I think pre-Joel Embiid injury during the regular season, I thought that the Sixers were going to make the run to the finals. And then he got hurt. It wasn't really certain with what was going to happen from there, but he's back now. He's been playing well since he's been back, so I'm rocking with the Sixers. I think New York is going to be a shit show in a different way in this situation. The best the Knicks have been in a long time in terms of seeding. And if they go out and lose it in 6, like I'm going to predict to the Sixers, then, all hell is going to break loose up there. And I think, to an extent, the Knicks are going to be the Knicks, just like the Cowboys are the Cowboys. So, yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. I think the Sixers are going to be getting hot at the right time, and I think maybe we'll get into it later, but I think they're going to make a run here.
Right on. Sean, what are your thoughts on the Sixers' chances in New York?
I agree. This is definitely the best first round series in the East. I mean, it's really a toss up. I mean, the Knicks really like grinded for that second seed, and they are a good team and definitely were improved after the trades and stuff. And I feel like having Julius Randle out actually is better for them, rather than worse.
Agree.
Yeah, just in terms of just how he plays in his offensive style and stuff, I just don't think like it worked in a half court setting and stuff where it slows down in the playoffs. I think this Knicks will still win. It's gonna be a tough series no matter what because the Sixers aren't really 7 seed. Tyrese Maxey is really emerging, and Joel Embiid has been playing well since he's been back. And they did play well against them early in the year, and that was before the Sixers started like hitting their stride with their new players and stuff. So I think this will be a 7-game series. I think the Knicks will take it though. So I got Knicks in 7, but yeah, definitely New York will be going crazy with that. It'll be fun to see. I kind of root for them in a way because this is the most I've liked the Knicks in a while. I mean, in terms of like their team, like Brunson is really underrated. In my opinion, I kind of slept on him as a player, but he's a dog. So I would like them to make a little bit of a run and return to relevancy.
Yeah, it's great to see the Villanova boys out there having a good time, on the NBA floor together. Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo, even Archie Diacono is getting some love on that 2-way contract. So it's cool to see. I'm going to go on a bit of an unstructured rant on this one. I've gone back and forth on this series more than any other. I'm in the process of writing an article predicting the outcome of each of these series, and I've changed my answer 3 times on this one. I'm very indecisive. This one all depends on the health of Joel Embiid. We know he's going to play, but we don't know how close to 100% he is. He obviously missed 2 months earlier this season with that knee injury, and then re-injured it against Orlando in the second to last game of the season. Missed out on that regular season finale against the Brooklyn Nets in Philadelphia, and came back against Miami in the play-in, but he looked hobbled. He was not moving around as fluidly, as freely, as quickly as we're used to seeing from him. We've seen him struggle in the playoffs in the past. Thinking back to that Celtics series last year, like Al Horford was giving him absolute nightmares down on the low block. And the Knicks have such a good, physical, smart, aggressive defense that could give him some trouble. There are just so many conflicting things with this series, right? Because the 76ers are the 7 seed, but like one of y'all said, they're not a normal 7 seed, right? When Embiid's out there, they have a record of 30-8. So they're really, really, really good when they're healthy. And the Knicks are really good too, but they're really good against bad teams. When the Knicks play a team that's over 500, they actually have a losing record. They're 21-28 against teams that are over 500, which is interesting. They're also without Julius Randle, which people aren't really talking about that much because I think they just see Jalen Brunson as obviously the better player, being more important to them. And I've even seen some argue that they're better off without Randle, which I personally don't buy whatsoever. So the Knicks are bad against good teams, but they're also 20-3 when OG Anunoby plays, right? They got this guy from Toronto halfway through the year. He came in, missed some time, but when he's been out there, they're 20-3. Like, they're one of the best teams in the NBA. So a whole lot going on. It seems like one of those trends is going to have to bust in that series. Will it be, the Sixers being fraudulent in the playoffs once again? Will it be the Knicks finally beating a team that's over 500? I don't really know. I've gone back and forth. Currently, I'm leaning 76ers. I do have faith in Embiid's knee holding up. I think Maxey's game does translate to the playoffs extremely well, just like with the tempo and pace that he plays at, his ability to score in isolation or off cuts or off of like floppy actions going around screens. Like, his game is perfect for the NBA playoffs, and he should be able to thrive against the Knicks, like smaller defensive guards. So it's going to be really interesting. I love the fact that the Knicks are good, and I'm not going to miss a single minute of that series. But right now, I'm leaning 76ers in 6 games.
Wow. Wait, so I know you were on the fence. Like, if you were to pick the Knicks, would it be the same amount of games?
It would be, I mean, this series is going 6. It might go 7,
Okay.
but it's going at least 6 games.
Okay.
But I think the Sixers are the underdog, so when I pick an underdog, I like to pick them to close out the series at home because it's really, really hard to win an elimination game on the road. So I think it'll be the Sixers in 6. But yeah, like y'all have been saying, literally anything could happen with this series, and I think this series, a lot of what happens in the East hinges on the outcome of this series. So it's gonna be box office TV to say the least, but I'll go Sixers.
Yep.
All right. The next series in the East is the 3-seed Milwaukee Bucks against the 6-seed Pacers. Now, the Bucks are a team that we spent a lot of time talking about on this podcast. The impact of Doc Rivers, the kind of coalescence of Giannis and Damian Lillard. Now they're in the playoffs. They had the chance to kind of prove wrong all of the naysayers and the doubters, and they get to take on the Indiana Pacers. Dermot, what are your initial thoughts going into this series that starts on Sunday?
Well, as you guys know, I've had passionate words about the Bucks throughout the season. But I think having Ivy here last weekend to talk about the Pacers, I think I'm still confident enough in the Bucks to advance through this first round. Like Ivy said with the Pacers, Halliburton has kind of dropped off the second half of the season. He's not a big Miles Turner fan, and I could see why after watching their past couple games, especially Sunday. And I'm rocking with the Bucks. I think Giannis and Dame are too good to lose to this inexperienced Pacers team. While I do love them, I think they're going to be good going forward. I'm going to still ride with the Bucks. Give me in 5 games.
Wow. That's a strong take. I will just preface everyone else's answers by saying that Giannis is likely to miss the first few games of this series. He did get hurt with 3 games to go in the regular season, and he will be out. So I don't know if like that factored into your
okay, then maybe not 5. I'll go with 7 then, because I think they will win the series at home. But if Giannis is going to miss more than 1 or 2 games, then yeah, I think I'll push it to 7 games.
What's the injury, Ned?
I believe it's something with his knee. I don't know, Sean, you might want to correct me on this, but I think he had a knee injury with a couple games left in the season.
I think it's his calf.
Yeah, you're right. It was his calf, and some people thought it was his Achilles, but yeah, it was a calf injury.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's a weird one. That's a weird injury for sure.
Yeah, you don't know how bad it really is going to be.
Yeah, because that can correlate to your Achilles. That's why people kind of like are cautious.
Yeah,
true.
And like different sport, but we saw Joe Burrow injure his calf in the preseason earlier this year, and he obviously was not the same for the entire regular season that he was out there. So, it depends on the severity of the injury, but it can definitely impact you for a long stretch of time.
Yeah, great comparison there.
So Dermot goes Bucks in 7. Grant, what are your thoughts?
Dude, this is the series where I'm having the most trouble. I know Ned said he had the most trouble with the Knicks and 76ers, but I'm having a lot of trouble with this one. I'm just hearing everything negative about the Bucks right now, and I'm hearing not everything positive about the Pacers, but I'm not hearing anything negative from the Pacers, really. I like them a lot. I've watched them. I think they can compete with the top seeds in the East. I just don't know how much I believe in how how good the Bucks will be. It just all depends on that Giannis injury and how they're gonna go about that. Um, I think the Pacers surprised some people here, though. Man, dude, it's so hard, bro. Because I think it goes to game 6, but it could be either team. But I'm going to say the Pacers.
Pacers in 6. I like it. I like it a lot. I'll actually go before Sean on this one. Knowing that Giannis is likely out for at least the first couple of games, I'm high on the Pacers. I know that they've been kind of sputtering down the stretch of the season. They're not as good as they were back in November, December when they were making that run to the in-season tournament final. I'm still high on them. I think that their game should translate pretty well to the playoffs. They play extremely fast, second highest pace in the entire NBA. If they can dictate tempo against the Bucks, who are going to want to play slow, I think that they could honestly win this series in 5 games. I'll go Pacers in 6 as well. I just think that they're due for a good run. Having Siakam out there is it was a good pickup for the regular season, but a great pickup for the playoffs because he can switch on to anybody, legit guard 1 through 5. Players like that are extremely valuable when the game slows down and becomes more half court focused in the playoffs. So I think he'll be huge in slowing down the Bucks offense. And Dermot was spot on with his take about Doc Rivers a few months ago. The Bucks have literally had a losing record under Doc after starting the season 30-13 under Adrian Griffin. So I think that the losing continues, and I'll go Pacers in 6. All right, and Sean, what are your thoughts on the Bucks-Pacers series?
While I think that the Doc Rivers hiring wasn't good and stuff, I definitely say that I think Lillard should awaken a little bit, hopefully, and not go out sad and lose in the first round. I would be very surprised if they did, and that's kind of a bad flame out just for the team in general. You kind of stuck in a bad situation, so I feel like there's a little bit of a motivation there to make it work and at least prove something. Hopefully, give Giannis some time to come back, and then hopefully they can get things going as they move along throughout the playoffs. But I think this series will be a challenge for them because the Pacers did play them well in the regular season. But Giannis can come back, which I will assume he would, maybe for game 5, 4 or something like that. Then I got the Bucks in 6 with that, but it will be a challenge definitely.
Bucks in 6 from Sean. Fourth quarter podcast is split on the Bucks-Pacers series. I just want to say before we move on that I think the Pacers not only win this series, but they advance past the Sixers and go to the Eastern Conference Finals. So
crazy.
Wow. I'm high on these guys.
They don't play defense though, so that's a matter. That's a big deal.
They score more points than you.
I don't think that's.
That is all that matters.
We'll see. Hey, we'll come back to this take in 3 weeks, and y'all will see. No doubt about that. All right, and on to the final series in the Eastern Conference.
And the most boring.
The one that nobody actually cares about. The Cleveland Cavaliers taking on the 5 seed Orlando Magic. This game, or this series is actually going on right now. The Cavs are up 14 mid-fourth quarter in game 1. So kind of a sneak peek of maybe what's to come. Sean, I'll let you kick us off on the Cavs Magic series.
Yeah, definitely a series I'm not gonna watch really. But I would say, I was kind of splitting this. It's a true 4-5 matchup. I really don't know. I didn't really watch much of these teams a whole lot this year. I think the Cavs should be a little bit better, than they were last year, and take this in 6. I would say. I wouldn't be surprised if they won in 5 as well. Magic are young, so the experience comes into play. It's good for them to get their feet wet, though, obviously, in this situation. But I think the Cavs are more experienced. Donovan Mitchell's been here and stuff like that, so I expect him to kind of lead them and get past the first round.
Yeah, I agree completely. I also have Cavs in 6. JB Bickerstaff, coach of the Cavs, under a ton of pressure, and I think he knows that if they lose this series, he loses his job. And I think that urgency will come into play with him making quick adjustments and just like doing his homework. He has playoff experience. Jamal Mosley does not. I know Jamal Mosley has done a heck of a job, potential coach of the year this season for the Magic, but I think the playoff experience is huge. People are pretty low on the Cavs after they flamed out against the Knicks in round 1 last year, but I really don't understand why they're so low. Like, they're more experienced, they're more talented than they were last year, definitely more talented than Orlando. I think Orlando can win 1 or 2 at home because they did have a really good home record this year, but the Cavs are clearly the better overall team in my eyes. Yeah, I'm saying Cavs in 6, and I don't think that they could take down the Celtics in the next round, but I do think that they are one of the more underrated teams in the NBA. So, yeah, I would say Cavs in a comfortable 6 games.
I actually completely disagree. I think will be an entertaining series. I want to see, like, I really like the players in this series, just the main guys from the Cavs. I want to see how Mobley plays in the playoffs. I want to enjoy watching Mitchell and Garland. I think those two guys are like entertaining to watch. But I really like watching Pablo on the Magic. I think he's very entertaining. Paolo. I think he's very entertaining. I like him a lot. And I think with this, a lot of teams are young. I don't think you can just write them off because they're young. I think Magic will give Cavs the work. I think Magic in 6.
Damn. Wow. All right, strong take. I do remember the Wizards back when they were actually good in 2013-14. They were the young team on the block. They were also a 5 seed going up against a 4 seed, just like the Magic are. And they were taking on the Bulls, who like people were high on, and the Wizards won that in 5. So yeah, it's true that the youth can often push people away, but sometimes it actually works in their favor.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely an opportunity to learn a lot about Paolo and Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, a lot of the young talent on that Magic roster.
Yeah.
And like Sean said, great opportunity for them to just get their feet wet, start to experience that playoff atmosphere as they build for the future. Dermot, what are your thoughts on Cavs Magic?
Yeah, I think it'll be a pretty good series. I think it will be boring because, I honestly have barely watched any of these two teams this year. I think today might be the most I've watched of the Magic this year. Not to say they aren't a good team or a fun team to watch, because I do love Paolo Banchero. Obviously, going back to his days in college, seeing him at the Final Four was amazing. Number 1 pick. He's been great thus far in the NBA. But I do think I'm going to take the Cavs probably in 7. Ned, you did mention the Magic's home record, and I do think Orlando is going to be popping for those home playoff games. Another similar to OKC, small market that hasn't been good in a while, hosting playoff games. I think the crowd is going to be electric and give them the boost in those home playoff games. So that's why I think they can win 3 games in this series. But I do think the Cavs, the coaching experience as well as the player experience. I love Donovan Mitchell. I do think Evan Mobley has been kind of disappointing for me this year.
Yeah.
But in general, I think they're a better team. I like Max Strus a lot, and I think they're going to take this in 7. But I think most of the idea that this is a boring series comes down to the fact that I think people don't think either of these two teams can beat the Celtics in the next round, which I do agree with. But I think that's, the small markets also is where that comes from. But I'm riding Cavs in 7.
Yeah, it's like, how can you say it's boring when you have them going to Game 7, though?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying it's not like just because the games they go back and forth, it can be boring. Like, this game is a boring game. and if Orlando wins by the same margin tomorrow, it'll be a boring game.
That's facts.
Yeah, I think that was well said. Sean, what were you going to say?
Yeah, no, I think Orlando's definitely a young team, so that'll give them a boost to the playoff thing. I do think they are talented enough to win a couple of games. I just don't think they would go as far. Yeah, I think it goes to the point that is kind of, I think it's boring because this one has the least storylines attached to it as well. Like every other series has something like going on with it. and this one doesn't really. I mean, it's kind of just like you know what you're getting with it. It's going to be like a grinded out series type of thing. With no, I wouldn't say there's no star power, but it's like it's dumbed down compared to the other stuff, I would say.
Yeah, I would say so. I think the number one storyline for me is if the Cavs lose, what happens with Donovan Mitchell? Obviously, there's been a lot of chatter with him and his future potentially getting traded as he enters the last guaranteed year of his deal next season. So, I mean, I think if the Cavs lose first round, they might be forced into a Donovan Mitchell trade because, yeah, I don't see why he would want to re-up in Cleveland when there are so many other suitors for him. So that'll be interesting. But, yeah, I think the lack of, like, glamour to this series is, you know, jarring compared to, you know, a lot of the other first-round matchups that we got, which across the board are really, really solid this year. I did want to talk about Evan Mobley for a second. I know I kind of lambasted him on the last episode, but he's another one of those guys that I really want to see show out in this playoffs. Like, he's been pretty disappointing to me with the jump shot, the overall offensive game. Like, I know he improved as a shooter this year, but it's still not, like, where I would have expected him to be after 3 years in the NBA. And I hope he can kind of improve in that regard, kind of like Keegan Murray, who's, like, been incredible. Sorry to bring that up, Sean, but I think Mobley needs to prove some people wrong in this year's playoff run. But yep, I'll go Cavs in 6. And for the moment that all our listeners have been waiting for, it is time for the official fourth quarter podcast predictions for the teams that will make the NBA Finals, as well as the teams that will lift the Larry O'Brien Trophy in 2024. So let's start with the West. Sean, what team do you expect to make it out of the Western Conference this season?
This is definitely a hard one. Definitely not the Thunder, but I would say I think it's gonna be the Nuggets. I'm just gonna have to roll with the champ and just like their team. I mean, they're a well-oiled team. They always have the experience of winning last year. 2 seed, I mean, honestly could have been a 1. The West was just really stacked, so the seeding of the top 3 doesn't really like affect my thinking with them. They clearly won I would say like a top 3 team the whole year. So I would say the Nuggets going out the West. Unless the Lakers upset. Yeah, that's the only. I think the Western Conference, whoever's going to the conference finals is coming from that series, but I'm going to go with the Nuggets.
So you said that if the Lakers beat the Nuggets, you think that they would advance to the finals?
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn.
I agree.
Really?
If Lakers beat the Nuggets, that they would advance to the finals.
That'd be the best team they play, I think, honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
Interesting. I was going to say, so I'm going with the Nuggets as well, but I think that Nuggets-Suns series in the second round that I'm projecting, that's going to be really, really interesting because, like I said earlier, like the Suns are built for the playoffs. They're not built for the regular season.
Yeah.
And they'll be a challenge to the Nuggets. Like the Nuggets really struggled against teams like the Suns and the Clippers in the regular season this year, teams that just had a ton of scoring wings because if there is a weakness of this Nuggets roster, it's like they don't really have that point of attack defense. Obviously, like schematically, they're very, very sound, but stopping the star power of a KD and a Devin Booker and a Bradley Beal to a lesser extent is definitely going to be a challenge for them. So I think that the Nuggets-Suns series goes at least 6, and I could see the Suns come out on top. But, yeah, the Nuggets have just been steady all year. They're a 2 seed, but I think they are comfortably better than OKC in a playoff setting. So I'll go with the Nuggets to make a second run to the NBA Finals this year.
I agree with that Suns take. Yeah, I mean, they gave the Nuggets I would say, weren't they only a couple ones that win more than 1 game last year in the playoff run?
Yeah, the Nuggets won the first series in 5. Then they beat the Suns in 6. And that was a worse version of the Suns, right? That was the Chris Paul Suns, not the Bradley Beal Suns. Swept the Lakers and then beat the Heat in 5, which was kind of an all-time easy playoff run.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, all that scoring and stuff definitely proves a challenge and stuff. So I definitely agree with that take that they could give them some work.
All right, so Sean goes Nuggets. I go Nuggets. Dermot, who's your team coming out of the West?
I hate to do this, but I'm going Nuggets as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've been the best team in the league all season. I think they've had the best player in the league all season. And they've been the best team and the best player for the past 2 years, even go back to playoffs last year, regular season last year. And I think they'll continue to do so. Jamal Murray is a different animal in the playoffs, and I think he'll step up once again. I see them making the finals. I think that'll be a tough matchup against the Suns. But I think whoever they play in the Western Conference Final, I think they will honestly wax, whether that's the Mavs or the Thunder. I don't really see that as a problem. So I've got the Nuggets, going all the way to the finals again this year.
All right, we got 3 for the Nuggets. Grant, it's down to you.
Well, I'm definitely going to have a different answer because my answer is my Oklahoma. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't think they can get it all the way done this year. I'm hoping for a long run from the Thunder, but I don't think they get it all the way done. I do think the champion is going to come out of that Nuggets-Lakers series. I think whoever wins that is going to come out of the West. So, I mean, I predict that the Lakers are going to win, and I predict that the Lakers are going to come out the West.
Damn. Hey, I like the take. I like the take that the Western Conference champ comes out of that one series. It would be crazy to see 39-year-old LeBron carry the 7th seed to the finals.
Can't count him out, bro.
Definitely. Yeah, if he won that, he's officially the GOAT. I think Jordan's the GOAT, but then he'd officially be the GOAT if he won this.
If he won the chip this year?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's not like he's carrying a drastically the Lakers got better.
Yeah, but it's just that he's still arguably the best player in the team right now still. He plays better than AD a good amount of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
If you drag a team to an NBA championship when you're the 7th seed at 39, Jordan was out of the league at 39, or maybe he was back with the Wizards, but still, that's a whole different level of accomplishment. That would be more impressive than beating the Warriors in 2016, in my opinion.
No way.
Dragging a 7 seed at the age of 39. I'm sorry.
It would be the first 7 seed to win. It would be the first 7 seed to win a chip because Lewis has been 6. So that's also another accomplishment if it were to happen.
I honestly think really the fact that LeBron is still a top 5 player in the NBA at the age of 39 is the most impressive thing about his entire resume.
Yeah, I agree.
The championships are great. That finals against the Warriors was fucking epic, but nobody in the NBA in NBA history has done what he's doing at his age. It's historic. Someone told me you can add up the total points scored of every player that's in year 21 in NBA history, and LeBron has more points than all of them combined.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's a crazy stat.
He's actually just different. I don't know. I think that's the hallmark of his legacy is just his longevity. But anyway, back to the predictions. We got 3 Nuggets. We got 1 Lakers. Moving on to the East, a lot of teams that you could pick here, but I do have a feeling that one team is going to get a lot of love. Grant, let's start with you. Who you got coming out of the East?
Yeah, I've been preaching this since the start of the play, and I think it's Celtics conference to lose. I think if they don't win, it's a disappointing season in their eyes. I don't see how. I mean, you go through the teams and the matchups potentially they couldn't play. They would have to wait until the conference finals to play a competent team in the Bucks, Knicks, or 76ers, or even Pacers. I don't think Magic, Cavs, or Heat have a single chance against the Celtics. So I think the Celtics make it to the Western Conference Finals easy as fuck. I think they just got to finish off one series, and it's theirs to lose.
Yeah, it's a good way of looking at it. Like, none of those three teams I can realistically see giving the Celtics a lot of trouble. So, should be a relative cakewalk to the Eastern Conference Finals. Dermot, how you feeling about the Celtics take? You got someone else, or you rocking with the Celtics?
I do like the Celtics a lot. I think, I don't blame anybody for picking them, but I'm riding with the 7 seed in the East, the Sixers, taking it to the finals.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I talked about them in that opening series against the Knicks, and I think just as time goes on, Embiid will get healthier and will get better. And I love Tyrese Maxey, as you said. His play converts to the playoffs. I think he's a clutch player as well. I don't see them having an issue with the Bucks in the second round, and I could really see them challenging the Celtics there in the conference finals. And I think it would be a huge disappointment for the Celtics. But I think, that's a series that's going to 7, and I'm hoping that Embiid drops the playoff choker tag that he's got on his name right now and pushes in, a 7 seed team and makes the finals, because I think the path is wide open for them. Celtics are a tough team, but I've got them. I got them. I just got the feeling.
I think that that would be a elite matchup, because the Celtics have a guy and the 76ers have a guy that are under that playoff scope.
Embiid,
you know what I'm saying? Like, they're both
damn.
being heavily looked at on seeing what they can accomplish in the playoffs, and if they meet up in the Eastern Conference Finals, man, that's gonna be a great fucking match, bro. It's gonna be a heavyweight fight.
You're talking about Embiid and Jason Tatum?
Yes, sir. That'd be a great Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, I wonder what Sixers fans are thinking about this playoff run, because they haven't made it past the second round since the Joel Embiid era really started. Like, they've always flamed out in the playoffs, and
When they lost to the Raptors, was that not the conference finals? That was second round.
that was when Kawhi hit that crazy shot in Game 7. So they've never advanced past the second round. Obviously, they're a 7 seed this year, but I think if you ask any Sixers fan, like, that doesn't mean shit to them. Like, they still expect a healthy version of this team to go all the way, at least to the conference finals. So definitely, Embiid's definitely one of those guys with a fuck ton of pressure on his back going into this year's playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's got to prove that he's not a regular season merchant and that he can get it done. But yeah, Sixers, that's crazy. That's a crazy take.
And when you talk about the gravity of a Boston versus Philly conference finals, like, those games are gonna be electric.
Oh my god,
man.
So, even like I said, I don't blame you if you got the Celtics. I have that being a 7-game series. But I just really want to see that series.
Yeah, me too.
That's really what I want to see.
Sean, who you got coming out of the East?
As much as I hate to say it, I think I really envision the Celtics the most out of all of these teams. I think the ones that would give them bump realistically would be the Knicks or the Sixers. So whoever comes from that series, I'm a toss up with that as well. Like, whoever comes from that series, I think, will be in the conference finals and give the Celtics at least like a 6-game series. But it's hard for me to say. I don't think, and I don't know. It's all dependent on Embiid's health and stuff, and him doing that and staying healthy throughout the playoffs. But there's too many things for me to consider with the Knicks. I don't know how good their offense would be against the Celtics and all those other things as well. So I would just say Celtics, but I think it'll be a 6 or 7 game series, whoever they play, which my prediction will be Celtics versus the Knicks or the Sixers. But I think the Celtics prevail no matter who they play and go to the finals again.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's the Celtics' year. Like, it should have been their year last year, and they lost to the Heat for some reason. Not for some reason. The Heat, were very good. But the Celtics, they got so much better this year. Like, they took a huge leap. Not only with their roster moves, bringing in a guy like Porzingis, Drew Holiday, but just another year under Coach Joe Mazzulla. Like, the chemistry's on point. I still have some concerns about Jason Tatum as a playoff killer in their late game offense, but it's so much harder to find flaws in the Celtics than it is in any other team in the East. So yeah, it's going to be a Celtics finals appearance for me this year. I think that they'll play the Pacers in the conference finals, kind of a mini Cinderella run for Indiana, but the Celtics would make quick work of them, probably knock them out in 5 games, and setting up a Celtics versus Nuggets NBA Finals, which I think Sean also has. Grant has Lakers versus Celtics, which would be fucking epic based on the historic rivalry. And Dermot has Sixers versus Nuggets. So some nice diverse NBA Finals predictions. Grant, I will let you give your finals pick.
Yeah. Well, it's just hard, bro. It's just hard.
Yeah.
Lakers versus Celtics. I do think that the Celtics get it done this year. I think that it's finally their year. I think they're not going to be like the Cowboys. I think their fans
49ers.
say it every year, but they're actually going to pull through with it. I think they have an easy road to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then a good matchup against anybody in that lower seeding or lower bracket. I think that'll be a good finals warm up with a good tested Lakers team. I think LeBron has enough to get him there, but doesn't have enough to just get him over that hump and win another championship. So I got Celtics and Jason Tatum winning the chip.
There we have it. All right, Dermot, who you got winning the chip between the Sixers and the Nuggets, the Jokic-Embiid finals matchup?
Give me the Nuggets. To repeat, I think Jokic and Murray in the playoffs. I already said it. They're amazing, and I think the Sixers have the juice to get to the finals, but I don't think they have the juice to beat the Nuggets. So disappointment for Philly fans. Although I think they'd be pretty satisfied given, the situation if they make the finals. So I got Jokic winning his second straight finals MVP. Hopefully MVP too. That would be incredible, and that would really lift his legacy to arguably top 10 all time, top 15 all time.
Definitely.
So yeah, I'm rocking with the Nugs.
Yeah, his resume would actually be fucking insane, bro.
3 MVPs,
He'd be top 15,
2 championships. Yeah,
he's not winning the MVP this year.
Definitely, that puts him up there with Shaq, I would say. That's more MVPs than Shaq. Only 2 fewer rings, and he's only 28. All right, so we got Denver from Dermot. We got Boston from Grant. Sean has Celtics Nuggets in the finals. Who you got coming out on top?
I got the Nuggets. I think Celtics going to choke again. They're the 49ers of basketball. They hold on the 1 ring from 2008. So yeah, I just don't think they're going to do it. I mean, late game offense, like I said and stuff. I don't think really Tatum is that clutch of a player. This is the best team they've had in a while, though. It's better than their 2022 team when they played the Warriors. But I still think those things linger and stuff like that. They haven't really completely resolved those issues, or at least he hasn't proven that in my eyes. So it's one of those things, I have to see it to believe it. So I'm just going to go with the Nuggets and know that the experience of winning last year and them having pretty much the same team almost, or at least a little bit of a different version, but still very good. I'm gonna go with the Nuggets. I don't know how many games. I would say Nuggets in 6 in that.
I forgot to say my game number. I got Celtics in 6.
Celtics in 6. Nuggets in 6.
Who would be the home team? Who would be the home team between the Nuggets and the Celtics?
The Celtics, I think, because they have the best record.
Celtics. Interesting.
All right. Between the Nuggets and the Celtics, I gotta take the Nuggets. I don't feel great about them as my championship pick. They're not as good a team as they were last year. I think losing Bruce Brown does hurt, but just based on their matchups and their path to a championship, I wouldn't take any of those teams over Denver. I still have my doubts about Boston's viability against a team like Denver. Jokic would fucking dominate that series like he does every series that he plays in. Jamal Murray is going to cook in the finals. I don't care if you put Drew Holiday on him. Like, the Nuggets find a way to get the matchup they want, and Jamal Murray will cook that. Michael Porter's just got to go out there and, like, not be a dumbass and, like, hit 15 threes throughout the series. He can definitely make that work. Aaron Gordon on these cuts, like, I don't hate the Celtics as the NBA's 49ers comparison. Like, I don't know. Jason Tatum might be the Brock Purdy of the NBA. I don't even know. But
yo, that's a good take. That's a good
crazy.
take. That's a good take.
That's crazy.
I don't have faith. I don't have faith. Just like in the Super Bowl, I just knew that the team with the greatest player on the planet was going to get it done. I feel the same about the Nuggets against the Celtics this year. So I really hope the Celtics don't win it all. I'm picking them to lose. I think it's going to be the Nuggets in 6 games. Nuggets in 6 in the NBA Finals.
Yes,
So we got 3 Nuggets picks. We got 1 Celtics pick. And, yeah, that should just about wrap it up. So
I feel like I was very different from y'all, bro. Very different.
I mean, they both had Celtics in the final.
I thought you were going to pick
That's
OKC to
true.
win it all. So I'm glad
Nah,
you didn't say
I got
that.
y'all's neck. I got y'all's neck.
It's nice to know he's not as deluded about OKC as he is about the Cowboys.
I didn't think the Cowboys were going to win the Super Bowl last year either. Actually, I did.
You did.
You did, yeah.
We got the receipts on that one.
I did. But never again. Never again.
Hey, I didn't think they were losing in the first round either. I'm not gonna lie. I thought they were
Yeah.
at least gonna go on a run.
Yeah. At least make it to that.
I had him in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did.
A lot of people did, but
All right. Well, Suns versus Timberwolves is about to tip off, so I think we'll leave it at that. But, yep, you've heard the fourth quarter podcast, official NBA playoff predictions for 2024. Thank you very much, Mr. Sean Lynch, for hopping on the episode. It was great to have you on. Definitely gave us some good takes and some good insight, so appreciate that.
Thank you for having me.
As our featured guest, it is up to you to determine the emoji of the episode. You know, after every episode, we pick an emoji for the fans to comment in the comments. So it is up to you to pick our emoji for episode 18.
Okay. Dang. Let me think real quick.
any emoji.
Any lightning bolt.
Ooh, I like
All
that.
right.
Lightning
Shout
bolt.
out the Thunder.
Sure, yeah.
All right, you
I'll
heard
do
it. If you
that.
made it this far in the episode, drop that lightning bolt in the comments section. Stay plugged into the IG and the TikTok. Got a lot of great content coming this summer. Got some reels coming out. Got a lot more drafts on the way as well. So definitely stay posted. But that's all we got for this episode. So appreciate y'all listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you for all listening. Peace.
See you guys.
See ya.